Okay, so now what we need to do is ask your subject to stand up in order to put the belt on. So you need to take your wires and you need to just wrap those under the belt so that we don't have them flapping, and then you're going to place the belt on your subject, and you just feed through, turn around, you just feed it through the latch, and you want to make it as tight as possible so that it doesn't bounce around. And then turn back around for me. And so you can move the belt off to the side, whatever is comfortable for your patient, okay? So again, make sure that you notice that the cables are underneath the belt so they don't flap around. The more that they're flapping around, the more likely that, again, you can get an arm in there and disconnect it, or you'll pick up a lot of interference. So I'm just turning my cables around and he's good to go. So just have a seat, because when we collect data, we do sitting, standing, supine, or blood pressures as well as EKGs. I'm not going to do blood pressures today, but we're just going to learn how to place those electrodes on that chest and then take a look at our screen. So here on your 12-lead EKG, there's a little picture of the torso, and they're green. And in those torsos are numbers as far as how much resistance you have, which would lend to interference. So our goal is to be under 40. And you can see I have 28, 1, it'll come back, 0, 0, 4, 4, 24, and 4, and then 4 down here at the leg, and then I need to wait for the right leg to show back up, but I don't think it's going to show anything, no, because it's just a ground. Okay, so they're all less than 40. So I did a good job on cleaning the skin and using my little scrubby pad as far as getting rid of the interference. So once you check that, okay, then the next thing that I need to go to is the first set of buttons on your computer have to do with the order of the test. The second group of buttons has to do with the reports that you want, and then the last set of buttons has to do with controlling the treadmill. So if you can learn the groupings, then when you're in an emergency situation and you know you need to get a report, you know you need to be going to the middle. So if you can learn the groupings, you won't be quite as confused at the keyboard. So here, the first thing I need to do is press pretest, because we're in pretest mode of collecting data. So the nice thing that your system will do for you is that it superimposes or blows up a lead, and you can select whichever lead you'd like to use. Right here I have V5, because as we get into our lectures, you'll learn that V5, 90% of the signs of ischemia usually manifest in lead V5. So that's always a good one to blow up so that you can see it. If you'll look closely on the screen, there's a little hash mark. Can you get that? There's a little hash mark there that represents your PQ junction, and then there's 2 hash marks behind your S wave, the end of the S to the start of the T, and that is your ST segment. And that ST segment, we're going to use that to determine whether or not we have elevation or depression. So you look there. Once we've checked out our leads and our interference, then what I need to do is look, I have a V2, a lead 2, and a V5, and those are your exercise sets. So I'm going to change my I'm going to change it to what's called lead check so that I can actually do a check of my leads. So you need to pull it back up. To you? No, I'm going to go to him. And it's called the tap test. And all you want to do is just sort of touch your limb leads to look to see if I get any interference on the screen. And I don't have any. Okay. So again, that's just another check to make sure that I've truly done a good job on my prep. The more time you put into your prep, the better the quality of your tracings that you're going to have. And again, it's critical for that interpretation piece. We've got to spend time. It's just not throw in the alcohol, throw on the electrodes, and go. We really need to take our time and make sure that we prepare the skin properly so we get good quality EKG tracings.